Don't be convenient. Always choose yourself. Do you know that feeling? When you said yes, even though everything inside you was screaming no? When you smiled while you wanted to cry? When you stayed long after you should have walked away? When you went quiet, just so you wouldn't cause a scene, so you wouldn't seem difficult, so they would keep loving you? I know that feeling too. That's what we're talking about today. What it means to be convenient, and what it costs you. About women who spent years living other people's lives, believing that was love. And about what it feels like, terrifying, yes, but possible, to finally start choosing yourself. I won't lie to you and say it's easy. It isn't. But I know this with certainty. It is worth every single uncomfortable moment. Now I'll tell you Maya's story. I always thought being a good person meant having no needs of your own. Let me tell you about Maya. Maya is 34 years old. She's a senior manager at a company, a mother of two, a devoted daughter, a reliable friend. At work, they call her the one you can always count on. Her colleagues know if someone needs help, Maya won't say no. She never says no. Never. Maya wakes up at 5:45 every morning. She makes breakfast while the kids are still asleep. Then she wakes her husband. He has an important meeting. Then she gets herself ready. On the subway, she answers work emails. At lunch, she calls her mother because her mom lives alone and needs to feel needed. In the evening, Maya comes home, exhausted, hollow, and her husband says, "You seem tense tonight." And Maya smiles. "I'm fine, just a little tired." Then she goes to the bathroom, turns on the water, and cries, quietly, so no one can hear. Because if they hear, they'll get upset, or they'll start asking questions, and she doesn't have the energy to explain. I want to ask you something. Do you know that bathroom? Have you been there? Most women have. Because from the time we were little girls, we were taught, your feelings are an inconvenience to others. Your desires are selfish. Your anger is unattractive. Your sadness is weakness. So we learned. We became very convenient, neat, predictable, safe. There's just one problem. We lost ourselves along the way. What being convenient actually means isn't a virtue. It's a survival strategy. Let's call it what it is. Being convenient is not kindness. It is not generosity. It is not love. Being convenient is what happens when you're so afraid of losing someone's love that you stop existing as a separate human being. A convenient woman is someone who says, "I'm fine" when nothing is fine, agrees just to avoid conflict, apologizes even when she's done nothing wrong, puts other people's plans above her own, feels guilty for having needs, is afraid to take up space. Sound familiar? This isn't a personality type. It isn't just how you are. It is learned behavior. We were taught this by our families, by school, by culture, by fairy tales where the princess waits instead of acts, by movies where the good girl never gets angry, by friends who said, "Be realistic, you want too much." So we learned to make ourselves small, invisible, convenient. And here's the most terrifying part. We started to believe that this was us, but it isn't you, it's armor. And underneath it, there is a living, real, wanting, angry, laughing, longing woman you haven't seen in a very long time. The breaking point. When your body says enough, Maya's breaking point came without any warning. It was an ordinary Tuesday. A colleague asked her to prepare a report on Friday evening, just as Maya was heading out the door. And Maya opened her mouth to say, "Of course." And she couldn't, not because she decided, but because her throat closed, because her body, the body she had been ignoring for years, simply refused. She stood in the doorway of the office and said nothing. 1 second, 2, 5. And then she said, "No, I can't. I have family." 3 words, "No, I can't." And her colleague didn't die. The office didn't collapse. Maya didn't become a bad person. She just walked out of the building, got on the train. And for the first time in years, she felt that she had legs, that she was taking up space in the world, that she existed. It was a small moment, but that's exactly what a new life is built from. Small moments exactly like that one. Your body is the first to understand when you are betraying yourself, chronic exhaustion, anxiety with no clear cause, illnesses that keep coming back, not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. That's not laziness. That is a protest. That is your body saying, this cannot continue. Please listen to it. How to start choosing yourself. I'm not going to tell you to just love yourself. That is useless advice. What I want to show you is what choosing yourself actually looks like in real life, in small things, in everyday decisions. First, notice the moments when you say yes because you're afraid to say no. You don't need to change anything right away. Just notice it. Say to yourself, there it is, I did it again. Awareness is already the beginning. Second, start with small no's. You don't need to refuse your boss or your mother first. Start with the waiter who brought you the wrong dish. Ask for it to be redone. That's how you build the muscle. Third, stop explaining your no's. You don't owe anyone a justification for your boundaries. I don't want to is a complete sentence. That's it. Fourth, notice what you're feeling before you ask what others are feeling. In the morning, before you ask your partner how they slept, ask yourself, how did I sleep? What do I want right now? What do I need today? Fifth, give yourself permission to be angry. Anger is not aggression. Anger is information. It tells you, something crossed a line for me. Don't extinguish it. Listen to it. Maya started with just one thing. In the mornings, 5 minutes, while everyone was still asleep, she would sit with her coffee in silence. No phone, no to-do list. Just sitting. Just being. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But a month later, she said, those are the only minutes in the day when I remember that I exist. That's how choosing yourself begins. Not with grand gestures. With 5 minutes of quiet. You are not required to be liked by everyone. I want to tell you something important. When you start choosing yourself, some people will be upset. Some will say you've changed, that you've become selfish, that you used to be better. Do you know what that means? It means you used to be more convenient for them. That is not a compliment. The real people in your life, they will handle the real you. They will want to know what you actually think. They will ask, how are you feeling? And wait for an honest answer. The others were used to a service, not a person. You deserve to be a person, not a function. You deserve to take up space, to have desires, to get angry, to say no without explaining yourself, to choose yourself without guilt. Maya, 1 year later, says she's gotten worse at getting things done. The house is sometimes messy. She sometimes tells her husband, not tonight. I'm tired. Some colleagues are occasionally unhappy. And she also says, for the first time in 34 years, I feel like I'm living my own life, not someone else's, mine. I want you to feel that too. Don't be convenient. Be yourself. Always choose yourself. Thank you for being here today. See you next time.